you feeling, guys?
Oh.
Molly, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
And special guest, Azrael, how are you feeling?
Hello. It's really good to be here. It's a bit early. It's like 9:15 a.m. when we're recording this.
He didn't realize
but,
that we rise and grind.
Yeah, we don't ride at dawn. We ride at like corporate hours. Like
Literally.
we're getting in early.
Literally.
Man.
He thought it was a joke, but we're here, we're
Grinding.
rising, we're grinding. We wake and we flip and bake, but in a corporate way.
Yeah.
So basically we have Azrael here, who is our course mate, who does film. He also has a wonderful podcast called As and When.
Yep.
And he does all things film. I'm pretty sure, do you also do the LUU Film Sock Instagram?
I do. I'm on my way out.
You're being replaced.
Yeah, I'm being replaced. And people have been asking me like, do I want to, re-elect and rerun and all that.
Yeah.
I think just let a good thing die. I think like
That's so respectful.
just leave it.
That's so respectful.
I would like to join as a member in the future, stress free.
If I were you, I'd be a dictator, because to be fair, like if they can't push you out, then might as well just stay there.
If there's no one else talking, then you're the only one filling the space.
Exactly. If you dominate the space, then no one else can come and replace you.
Yeah.
So next time, if you have the opportunity to do that, just kind of be as menacing as possible, so that people don't take your space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Here at Intro to We're Starting a Dictatorship.
Yeah.
Film Sock first.
Yeah, run a tight
Encourage
ship. Run a tight ship. Yeah.
But yeah, he's super smart. He's always outsmarting everyone in the seminars. So we were like, okay, we can use this. We can
exploit this.
Okay.
Yeah. We can exploit this knowledge.
Let's transfer this knowledge onto our own podcast so that we can use like let's say we can use some nice vocabulary without sounding pretentious, because if there's 3 film bros in the room, like no one's gonna point us out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Who's gonna be like, oh, you guys is getting too, because we're all part of the same.
It's finally a safe space.
Exactly. Finally.
Sounds like it's a safe space for you to grill the shit out of me.
Exactly. That's what's happening. Because as we've seen from the last guest episode, we do a little segment with our guests, with our little interns, which is like a quick fire questioning interrogation interview.
Very much like a job interview, very much like, are you getting the role? Very much like, sling your weapons on your back. If you're not ready for war, what are you ready for?
Exactly. You walk in and, your suit it's cut to fit you amazingly, and your hair is swooped to the side with gel and pomade, and you sit down and you look at your employers, 2 women of course, and they are smiling at you and you're thinking, easy 2 women, I got their job. And then they pull out a clipboard and then it's like,
they mean business.
They mean business.
Yeah.
And then they start grilling you. And then you're like, hold on, how was I supposed to prepare? The thing is, you can't prepare for these questions.
Yeah, it's natural instinct. And if you don't have it, we actually will have to tell you nicely, can you find the nearest
Can you find the nearest McDonald's, please? That's your
that's
your
looking
new
like
job.
that job, yeah.
Yeah.
No hate though to McDonald's worker. Tana was an ex-employee, so
That makes me feel loads better. No, I just talking about what I don't have, right? I could never do what you guys do. Like, just have a mic in front of you and just ramble, like, like whatever you just did.
Just
Honestly,
chat shit.
Just like chat shit. I could never do that. I don't have the
neurodivergency.
Yeah. You don't have the mental illnesses.
But yeah, it comes with a lot of, you have to have probably around 7 hours plus screen time, and then you can unlock this. Like if you are clocking in those hours on the screen, you can do this.
I was gonna say, because you're basically speaking in code to me right now.
It's brain rot. It's
schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I start or should you start? You started last time.
Yeah.
So do you want to swap it? Or do you
Yeah.
want to
Okay.
keep it the
Stop it. You go.
same? Okay. So Azrael,
we need some dramatic music when we do this. Next time I'll
Edit
get
in.
dramatic music.
We'll cut this bit out and we'll edit that in.
Or do you want like a drum roll?
Yeah, you're acting out like clapperboard right now. When we listen to this back, when we hear the
No, literally, I'm gonna be like, music.
Okay. A24, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
4 favorites.
Oh God. The American President. When Harry Met Sally. Up. And Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's what I got.
Nice.
Good choices.
Yeah.
Today's breakfast.
Sausage muffin.
Are you biting or licking ice cream on a cone?
Licking.
Okay. Toy Story versus The Incredibles.
Toy Story.
What was the official date that you started listening to Intro to?
If you've never listened, don't worry.
No.
If you've never listened, do
Early
worry.
Feb 2025.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Okay, that's a good one.
Nice.
And I crack my fingers, but
Oh,
I've got no
Jesus.
air in them right now. So, most overrated letter in the alphabet.
S.
Yes, no, that's so valid. Yes, okay. So you have the option to take 5 years off your life, which is obviously no one would want to do, but you are guaranteed at the end of your life to get a compilation of every single memory you've ever had into a film montage. Do you take those 5 years off your life?
No.
Warm donuts, cold donuts, or no donuts?
Cold donuts. I come from a tropical country.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Yeah. Is it true that anyone has a podcast these days?
No.
If given the option,
You have a podcast yourself.
Do you need me to elaborate on that or no?
No.
no explanation.
Okay.
If given the option, would you eradicate every film bro?
Yes.
Yes!
Why are you saying yes?
Because Meg said no. Meg said no. We don't fall under that category. I'm not boxing myself into
Obviously
that.
not.
You don't fall into that category. You have letterbox. You're automatically a film bro.
No, there's a difference between film bro. I could literally get my hands and throttle you, and there's like film bro like, oh,
Watching-
you're kind of geeky, aren't you?
Oh, okay, yeah, geeky film
Kind of
bro.
got that weird shit going on.
Yeah. Geeky film bro. Okay, yeah, I see that because there is a difference between the geek and the mise en
geekette.
scène.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
the mise en scène watcher.
Yeah.
I can't go one podcast without bringing some kind of like academia, mise en scène, whatever bullshit onto that.
Do you say mise en scène
Hell
in your
no.
podcast? Why
No,
not?
keep that shit in the classroom where it belongs. You know?
I think I'd be, if I had like a actual film podcast, I'd be running that. I'd be running that ragged, bruh. I'd
Yeah.
be like mise en scène.
Yeah.
I'd be
I'd be
like,
like,
the
"Bye,
chiaroscuro."
Zan.
Yeah.
Like I'd be running those. I don't care. I'd be letting people know that, you know, I'm the one with the knowledge. I'm
Yeah.
the oracle. Do you know what I mean? You come to
Uh-huh.
me for
Yeah.
whatever you want to hear, and so that people repeat it and they think they sound smart, but really they just sound pretentious.
Yeah.
And there you go.
That's the bottom line of it. But trying to sidetrack and go back on the road. Actually, what did someone say? Oh, there was a reading we had to do for class or something that was like, to get the chickens back into the pen.
The what?
Did you read that? It was like to get the chickens
thought
back
you-
into the
I
pen.
thought you meant like someone in the seminar was like,
Oh God, no.
but to get the chickens
To get the chickens back into the pen. No, it was actually
Crazy.
in like an academic review by Zan. Shout out.
Crazy.
To get the chickens back into the pen, today we are talking about the Oscars.
Yes.
Who wants to give an explanation of what the Oscars is to someone who doesn't own any device?
Well, there's no camera right now, but for the audio listeners, let me show you who I'm looking at.
Jesus.
I'm looking at our
Putting
guest.
me on the
Come
spot right now.
on. You probably have a good one, and then we'll all give our definition of
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be like a Oxford dictionary definition, but
Can be
how
more
would you
personal.
define the Oscars?
I define the Oscars. So it's Hollywood's biggest night.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hangout. Anyone who's anyone is there.
Yeah.
Show up on the red carpet.
Yeah.
You know,
Look sexy.
look sexy.
Yeah.
Sit down, hand some awards.
Mhm.
Drag on for too long. Everyone just wants to go home.
True.
you
At
know,
Adrian
get some
Brody.
drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for the rest of us who are unfortunate enough not to be there, it's just like it's something to tune in to make us feel like Hollywood insiders.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's
It's
And
about it.
dream.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So real.
Yeah.
How would you define the Oscars, Molly?
I would define it as an opportunity for a comedian who's been on the roast before, if you've ever seen the roast online, to just point out that most of the people in Hollywood are either pedophiles or just, nepo babies. So you gotta get one of those jokes in there, and then everyone who's not famous is like, that was funny. And then I would say the Oscars is just a compilation of either thanking God, their mother, or every single man ever that's brought them to that place. Give it a rest. The person you want to win, snubbed. Every single time. Snubbed. Every single time. Twitter's going off. Twitter's creaming itself.
This is Twitter's biggest night. And we're always going to call it Twitter, by the way. If you thought we were going to call it anything else, that's not happening.
Grow up. Twitter's screaming itself. Twitter's having an overload. Literally every Instagram fashion thingy is
going wild.
Up,
Vanity Fair, Vogue,
Chapel Our Queen on the carpet,
Women's Magazine, literally everyone
going crazy. And it is just a moment for everyone who doesn't own a house in LA to just sit back and be like,
hey, I can do this. Take another take from their bong, be like,
this is for me.
I can do this.
You know what? I might be greening out, but this will be me next year.
Literally me next year. I would define the Oscars like a big convention of people who, of theatre kids who think that they're better than theatre kids because they do it in front of a camera.
Real.
And then some pretentious people who have looked at all these different movies and think, hey, I think the one with the most heartwarming story is going to win. Fashion. I think it's more like a lot of it is about fashion, actually. And then, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's when I was younger, I feel like I loved it a lot more. And now when I'm older, it just feels like, I don't know. I'm just like, this is so exciting. But imagine if, that's such a bad thought in my head. I was like, imagine if there was a tornado or there was an earthquake and that building where they were collapsed and then every single prolific famous person
elite gone from the face of the earth.
That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy.
But they're gone. You'd have to restart that shit. They'd be doing X Factor for trying to get famous people.
Insane. One thing I didn't know about Oscars is that they have the main ceremony, but they also invite influencers and people who are just a little bit not Hollywood. They just invite them and they put them in a separate room and make them watch through a screen.
Really
crazy.
Did not know that.
Of the actual ceremony. And it's like I've forgotten what it's called, but comedians are usually in there, and people who are famous but not Hollywood famous. So sort of D-list celebrities are usually in there, which I think is crazy. Oscar snack box.
Oh my gosh, wait, I need to search up what was
is
in
an
the
Oscar snack box?
Yes. There's a little pretzel with mustard, butter.
Oh, one of the gift bags with the
but
I'd be kind of mad.
Products inside.
This is a the Academy multi-million-dollar organization.
The gift bag actually costs $217K.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, what is in it? What the hell?
Holy shit.
Yeah,
I'm just looking it up right now.
What the hell? Wait, okay. Wait, am I actually scrolling right now?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm scrolling. Okay.
Molly, let us know.
The majority of the 60 plus items are worth under £1,000, so let's start. There's a red light sleep therapy device, a He-Light, which basically you see every single influencer just plastering their face on. Membership in Function House 100 plus lab tests for $499.
Sorry, lab tests?
Yeah.
For what?
I think it's, how people are on the trend of getting full body scans to see anything that's wrong with them.
Oh.
That's a trend at the moment. Yeah, fun fact.
Okay.
There's also a number of cannabis or THC products, junkies,
Right.
such as $160 worth of products from Bebo.
No, but that's crazy. Like, they're giving you like really good, like. Okay. We're gonna have to cut that.
Yeah, they're actually feeding them
Yeah,
drugs. They're
the
literally
people.
giving all the miners it. They're like, Sam early. Okay, so it doesn't really tell me everything that's in it, but coming in at $23,549, there is a 4-night stay at a 2 award-winning luxury resort in the Maldives.
What?
Mad.
Can I ask why these people need it though? They probably have
that's
a house
actually
in
the biggest
Maldives.
question. Like, do these people need it? Like, they obviously. But then again, like, isn't it that actors don't get paid like half as much as we think they do?
Oh, but bitch, please. They still have a
Okay,
wage.
but they still have money, but it's like, it's not the money that we think
their net
it
worth
is.
is always more. No, but then you see like people get paid like for roles in movies, they can get paid like millions. It just depends on like, I think Brad Pitt's up there with one of the most top paid.
Yeah, but obviously that's Brad Pitt. He's been in like 10 million thousand movies.
Yeah, but it's like, is it Anne Hathaway's up there? There's someone who I didn't think would be up there that is really up there, and like Leonardo DiCaprio as well will be up there.
Obviously, yeah.
But like, hey,
Yeah. Well, it does depend because obviously I feel like series though, if you're like a TV actor, you get
it's
paid
less so.
significantly less.
Yeah, and also you I was reading this thing about Sex and the City. Actually, you'll be interested.
Have
in
you
this,
watched
Tanner.
Azrael?
Sex and the City.
Yeah.
No. I have
so
not.
Good.
But my TV queue is really
Long.
it's going off the rails.
What's
honestly.
next? Severance?
It is
Everyone
Severance.
loves
It is
Severance. Oh,
Severance.
yeah.
Season 2.
Yeah.
It's not over, is it?
The series.
The new season.
Oh, do you mean it's still coming out?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't
need
know.
to watch
I haven't
it.
watched Severance. I've been putting everyone onto it, and I've never watched a single one.
It's really underground.
What do you think Severance is about?
I think,
As someone who's never.
I always picture it as this. Basically, you have 2 versions of yourself, and one of the versions goes into work, and when you go into work, like, you can't remember what's happened. But then I don't really know anything.
No.
And then like the outside version of, like, every single time that you go out, you go back into the outside version of yourself.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what my first thought that
What?
it was back when like I didn't know? This was like, I just seen Adam Scott like figurehead in it.
Right.
And I'm a big fan of Adam Scott as well from Parks and Rec.
So
So
you thought
I
it
was
was
in my
Parks
Parks and
and
Rec mind. And I was
You thought
like,
it was The Office.
it's an adaptation from The Office basically, but it's kind of more Succession. It's like Succession-y Office. Like,
Succession-y
so
Office.
Succession
To
meets
be
Parks
fair,
and
it
Rec.
probably might be. What would you say?
Kinda. Well, it's not. It's Ben Stiller, right? Who's
Yeah.
directing
Yeah.
and everything. So like,
Which
there
I
is-
think is insane.
That
it is
insane.
insane. And
Get
it's
back
a
to
long
the
road for him.
museums.
Have you seen the
The
one where
dinosaurs
like
are loose.
all the cast of Severance are in the glass box? to,
Yes,
like,
I
promote the
saw
thing?
that. That was amazing.
And he's just a proud dad, like with a smartphone, just filming them.
Yes.
Yeah, that was insane.
Do you think he coordinated that pop-up, or do you think it was like some genius intern producer?
I think it might have just been marketing. Honestly, he was
Yeah.
just there for the vibe.
Yeah.
Just there to watch.
Marketing
Yeah.
actually carries.
Yeah,
Actually,
a lot of things.
That needs to be like, I think that needs to be an Oscar category, you know, marketing.
What, best
No one ever
marketing?
talks about it because everyone
Yeah.
talks about casting, which I think is, listen, I think casting is such a big thing actually, to be fair. I think E.T. has the best casting for like siblings. Have you seen like
I've
this?
never seen it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The siblings look identical. It's crazy.
Right, but like, why should that win an Oscar?
No, but it's like, yeah, because
It's coming to the Oscars. Do you know that?
Is
They're
it?
doing best casting next year.
Yay!
What best?
It goes to the casting director.
Because they do costuming. Without the casting, the actors wouldn't be there and the actresses.
Or it's like how well they represent what's on the page.
yeah.
And,
fair,
you know, how well
fair
they
enough.
translate. Yeah.
Especially if it's like a book adaptation as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you can get a lot of people pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, the Hunger Games ones, like, a lot of people pictured, like, Gale differently and stuff like that. So you can really, like, mess with a lot of nerds.
Is Gale not a chiseled like Hemsworth brother in the books? What does he?
Yeah, but I feel like people, I don't know. I've not read the books of the Hunger Games, but a lot of my flat have, and like if I got them on Sogbright, they'd have a lot of opinions about like which characters should have been different and which looked different and stuff like that. And like the Harry Potter books as well. Like I think a lot of the characters are different in the books, but then they cast it different. But hey, that's why it needs to be a thingy. And marketing's so fair, good. The Kill Bill marketing back in the day.
Oh my gosh, that literally runs my brain like a little like propaganda. It's just like, if you can do anything in this life and you want to be in marketing, think of Kill Bill.
Yeah,
because that's crazy. I think about Anora, how it spent 3 times its budget on marketing for the Oscars, which is crazy, because like half of it is like sending gifts to Oscar voters. Which is like, is that allowed?
That's like sweet talking them a bit, isn't it?
Exactly. But it's also like, you do what you got to do to get where you want to get. Do you know what I mean?
That is campaigning. Yeah,
it is campaigning.
And this season has been mad.
Yeah.
People throwing each other under the bus, and like all the different controversies, and you know, the AI stuff and the intimacy coordinator stuff.
Yeah, actually,
What would you say about AI in film?
It's inevitable. It's gonna I think just as long as the audience is clued into how much it's used, I think it's okay. But I don't know if I want to see. I'm not saying like I want to see fully AI generated movies in like 5 years, because that's honestly, it's gonna put us all out of a job, and it's gonna be a bit disgusting to look at. But I think what's scary is that I watched The Brutalist, right? I couldn't tell. Like, I couldn't tell you where the AI comes in.
The Brutalist had AI.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah,
that's the controversy that a lot of people are talking about.
That's crazy.
And Adrian Brody released some sort of statement talking about how, I don't know, he was just like, "Is what it is," basically. Like,
well, they used it for 2 seconds to fix his accent, and he's not like, but it's an off-screen thing. Like, you hear him say a line, and it's not him, it's like AI assisted ish thing, and they used it to like create blueprints and stuff that the production designer then used to like make his own blueprints, which are in the film.
Okay,
so it's not like
that's
it's assistive.
It's more of
it's
like,
not actually AI generated.
BoJack Horseman?
No.
There is sort of towards the end, BoJack Horseman is an actor basically, and towards the end, like, he's in this show and he wants to act in it, and he's like a very well-known actor, but then obviously because of his alcoholism, like, he can't focus when he's on set because he's always drunk or something like that. So then they decide to just create prints, like scans of his body, and then like basically jig it around, so basically he's acting but he's not acting. And I think that was a nice precursor to this like situation that we're in right now, where, you know, I don't think anyone will be able to tell like if an actor was actually there acting or is it some sort of AI. And I feel like all editing and graphic design is taking up much more space than it did before in terms of film in general. And when we're talking about new Oscars in the future, I think definitely, like, obviously we do we have special effects right now?
We do.
But I feel like it will be more of a thing.
Yeah, because also on the I've not watched the proper ceremony. Have you watched like the ceremony all the way through?
Yeah.
Did they show you like the winner for the best costume and the winner for like best special effects? Because I feel like those categories, special effects and best costume, and there's something else, aren't really like talked about.
Right.
Like they're not really, like, obviously the shine is more on like actors, actresses, directors.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good that you bring it up, because like they do present it every year. But this year more than most, they actually gave a lot of attention.
Yeah.
To because Conan was hosting, right? And then he's like, oh, as much as it's about like the actors and the big names and the Hollywood elite and whatever, there are like actual craftsmen in the room.
Yeah.
And that was like his opening speech. And during like I think it was costume design or like cinematography or something, they had 5 nominees, right? So they had one actor from each of the nominated films come up on stage to speak about like the craft, because they interact with like the costume people and the camera people and whatever, so they can speak to that. So that's nice. I guess.
It is crazy because like I don't know, I feel so passionately about this, but like an actor can act, and I feel like a lot of that comes from like a certain talent you kind of born with, and also like a confidence sometimes. Just like that whole, you have to like maintain a certain persona, and then obviously like you grow and you become a better actor or actress like just by like experience and kind of notes and whatever, but also like these people that are like the costume designers sometimes are like studying this craft for years and years and years,
which is crazy. Like not to diminish the effort that goes into being an actor and being a director, but in comparison, like you can, not that you can just pick up a camera and start directing something and you'll be amazing, but I feel like with more of the craftsmanship type of things, you need to have ages of you practicing and getting good at it, and editing is one of those things where if you're good at it, you can be amazing. Do you know what I mean? Which actually brings us nicely onto something else I wanted to talk about, which is like the idea of having a writer-director or a writer-director editor in the case of Sean Baker, or something like that, where you have someone who's taking up more of these roles, because it hasn't been done for a while, because obviously there's more opportunity for people to do one thing and do it well, but in the case of Sean Baker, like he's doing all 3 things and he's doing it well.
If there was a casting Oscar, he would have won it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's 4 things.
So is that inspirational, or is it kind of like, I don't know how to explain what I mean. Is it like, do you think that it's a good thing that we're having like more of that, or are we kind of regressing?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but like, if to bring like an academic term into the room, like, is it too like auteur?
Oh hell no!
Like one guy.
Get this guy out here.
Okay, I just want to say like that segue you did from like the editing stuff into the writer director thing, that was like, that's how you podcast. That's how you host.
Thanks, King.
It goes straight to her head. She's gonna talk about this for weeks.
I just here to like ego feed.
Yeah, literally.
Get out of the room. Let you guys record for another.
No, but you know what it is like. I am such like an enemy towards actors who are the producers. Oh, it grinds my gears.
Yes,
because
Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even. I didn't even think we were gonna have that in this conversation today. Do we need to?
Because honestly, I feel like there is a level of privilege then you possess as like right. Let me get comfy. If you've like achieved getting a role on that, and especially if you're a person like Blake Lively, I acknowledge there's a certain kind of privilege that you have possessing that role, like Ariana Grande had to do. Like, come on, you had a little bit of a step up with your career.
You really
Delusional. And so then when you take on a job like producer, I'm like, well, how about the people who have been working as producers for years and years and years, or like the interns who are working up to that and you've kind of gone against, and just because you're already established in the film industry, or just because you're already established in that film specifically, then they're like, oh, they have more experience. But it's like in a different field. It's like, it's just,
I think that's just a demonstration of the area and the sort of time that we're in, where nepotism and like quote connections, I'm literally making myself gag right now, is like it's dominating any sort of talent. Like it's making it really hard for anyone else to sort of come in, because you already have people that have gotten to where they need to get through already being born into the industry. And I can't remember, my friend Evie was telling me about this interview. I think maybe it was with Zoe Kravitz or someone else, who was like, I'm not a second generation actor or something like that. I'm just like, second generation is only for immigrants. Like, what are you talking about? Second generation actor? I just think it's such a dumb term. Like, if you're a nepo baby, just claim it.
Say
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And allow, like, if you are aware of the privilege that you possess in whatever industry that you are in, I think you can be more intentional about how it is that you occupy that space and also allow space for others. If you are like, oh, I've also deserve everything that I have, you're automatically gonna, like, you know, you're hogging space, man.
Like getting high on your own supply.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, it just really infuriates me because, like, listen, I feel like so many actors get really, like, frustrated and feel like they're getting targeted when you call them, like, a nepo baby. I mean, it's a factual label. Like, it comes from a level of factuality. I'm not just singling you out. Also, like, first of all, it's true. So don't come after me for something that's true. Yeah. And also, like, if you're a good actor, you're a good actor. And that stands.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. But there is also, like, some actors that are just a bit shit. They're just a bit shit. Yeah.
And like, they got to where they got to because of their parents. And that's fine.
It's like,
it's not fine.
Listen.
I wish we were filming this right now.
Yeah, literally. Someone else told me that this is a visual podcast because I can understand, like, the cues that you're waiting for.
Yeah. And it's like when you're really shimmying your hands. Yeah. So you gotta feel it, guys.
Yeah, you gotta feel the energy.
But it's like, has anyone watched High Fidelity?
Yes.
Have you watched a TV show of it?
I have not.
Oh my god,
I didn't even know there was a TV show.
So good, yeah. Oh. So basically, so High Fidelity got adapted into a TV show from the movie. The movie's amazing, by the way. Shout out my ex for putting it on there. Hey!
Your ex put you on?
Yeah.
I would never, ever say that shout out.
Nah, he's probably listening to this as well. So shout out.
Azrael, do you put people on?
Hell no.
Really?
keep the boundary, you know,
Are you
put
a
up
gatekeeper?
walls. As in, like, when it comes to putting your personal whatever, you know, if it's a guest, sure.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. Keep it separate, you know, keep it nice and clean.
That's when he targeted us both. Because we will name drop. We will name drop. Yeah, but High Fidelity got adapted into a TV show, and Zoe Kravitz was in it, and Zoe Kravitz was so gay, it was amazing, and I loved it, and I soaked up the queer, as I should do. But the bottom line was, she did a movie. She did, what was it called? Blink Twice. And Blink Twice got terrible reviews. Did reviews. It didn't get, like, 1 star. It got worse. It got, like, 3 stars.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so, like, not remarkable enough to be talked about.
Exactly. Like, I remember the press coming up to it because Channing Tatum and her were going out. Yeah. That was kind of the fixation, which get your mind out of the gutter, Hollywood, as well. Stop placing so much emphasis on relationships instead of people's actual work. Sorry. Anyways. But yeah, it just didn't, when it came out, it just came out, and that was it.
I think I agree with you, but I also think that there was a lot of hype around Blink Twice, and the other one that came out to Netflix with Anna Kendrick's directorial
Woman of the Hour.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of the hype around those two, not because I think it was like a lot of, like, women being directors, but not of mega, like, big, huge, gigantic films, but, like, sort of showing that they're sort of changing their path into something that they're more passionate about. Which, if I guess the question that you're bringing up is are these people better suited off, these nepo babies suited off as being, well, these nepo babies actually have the chance to change and shift direction if they want to. They can be an actor, and they can also, if they want to, be a director, because they also have the funds, and, you know, they don't have to work as hard. Well, I don't know, but wait, no,
that's when you get dogs.
Oh no, that's when I'm blacklisted. But they don't have to. Well, they just don't have to do as much to sort of shimmy their way into directing, because if they want to, they can. Azrael, what do you want to be when you're older to do with film?
Oh, Jesus.
No, this is such a good question because this is how me and Tana started our friendship.
Yeah, literally.
Cool. I just want to do what I love for a living.
Mm-hmm.
It could be this. I'm not saying it is, but it could be this. It could be like writing about film, media, arts, right? It could be actually making a film. Because when I came from a previous film school back home in Singapore, and like I tried my hand at various like actual like making films.
You're holding the broomstick.
I'm holding the boomstick. You know, I'm being like dragged on my butt, dragged by my legs as a dolly. You know, like when you have to like how do you say, like home make a dolly and like everything. Yeah. And a lot of that, you know, a lot of like student filmmaking.
Yeah.
And what we're doing now is like the other side of that. Right?
Yeah.
Like talking, I don't know, academically, critically.
Yeah.
About, yeah. So anything that like, I don't want to be a film academic.
Yeah.
You can cross that out. I think 3 years is enough.
Yeah.
I think
so
like
valid.
I think this is cool. Like being able to
Yeah.
talk freely about whatever makes you passionate.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. But actually when it comes to like actors being producers and directors and all that, I mean, some of them already have the foot in the door.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're big names and whatever. But actors learn a lot on set.
Yeah.
Like when they are being directed. And
They really do.
Yeah. And so when a lot of actors make the switch to directing, it's like they already know how it goes and they found a language that they can use to
Yeah.
speak to people. And obviously they're telling a story that's passionate to them, that speaks. If you talk about Blink Twice, right? Clearly, Zoe Kravitz is what we call a nepo baby. But she's got the sauce. If you've seen the film. And it's like, I don't think there's gonna be ever one conclusion and one side to that. Because it's gonna.
It's too complex because, you know, you can be a nepo baby and talented.
Yeah.
As Zoe Kravitz is, as we've seen in High Fidelity.
Yeah.
And obviously Blink Twice. So, but it's just like, I think it's frustrating when you're not a nepo baby and you're looking at these people and you're just like, if only I had the privilege of being able to get my foot in the door without working like 10 times as hard to get to the same place as you. Also, have you noticed that a lot of people, ID Magazine was talking about how there's a switch now. I can't remember who they had on. I think it's actually Interview Magazine. How there's a switch now between Hollywood acting and like sort of getting yourself through Hollywood into acting. And now like people being recognized from TikTok. Shout out the girl from Honora. Do you remember?
Which one?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Basically his friend in it, Ivy.
Ivy Wolf?
Yes.
Wolf?
Maybe.
Well, she's a TikTok
Yeah.
influencer.
Yeah, so she was back on Vine back in the day.
Yeah.
She was famous on
Wow.
Vine.
Yeah.
And she hung around with like the
Ivy Wolf.
Yeah, she hung around. You know who she hung around with briefly? Emergency Intercom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're in Drew.
Yeah, she had a brief role in Honora. She was his best friend. She had like ginger hair. And yeah, her acting is like, this is one of the things we discussed when we came out of watching Honora, because we had so much to talk about, but that was one of the things, because when she popped up we were both like, what? And we were saying like her acting was just so like different. Like it's like watching comedians go into like a serious role,
right?
And it's like, yes, this is great for you, but that's crazy. I didn't even know you could do that. Do you know what I mean? For example, like Jordan Peele, crazy comedian.
Oh my god,
comedian. Key and Peele. Why is it so funny? Question mark. But I just think that what we've seen here is that there's no straight path to whatever it is. I think I've told this story that I'm about to tell like 10 million times, but I was on this little summer filmmaking course and they got this guy in who's a location manager, which is basically like they seek out locations for whatever film that they're making, and he did it for the Apple TV flipping series. What is it called that everyone loves? And I just
Shrinking?
No. It's like very American. It's called oh my flipping gosh,
Yellowstone. That's not Apple TV.
No.
Oh, Yellowstone slaps them.
No,
you said American. I just thought of Kevin Costner.
I need to. Okay, I've forgotten the name of it.
Okay.
But he came in and he was like, I was like a project manager at this random job until I was 40, and then I left that because I didn't know, like I just didn't want to do it anymore. And then I saw this job opening for location manager. I was like, okay, cool. I can travel. I can, seek out stuff, and I'm well paid, easy. And obviously, all his like stuff is provided by Apple because it's an Apple TV program. So I just thought to myself, like, and me and Molly were talking about this before, like, if you have to take a little side route to where you want to go, it's possible you still have time.
Yeah, it's weird because like I didn't realize this growing up, but now I think I realize it more. Kind of everything you do has a mark, even if it's like a little bit.
Yeah.
It's so weird because like from getting this podcast, I now know that like a lot of people who do know me, like not very closely, but who do know me like a little bit, know me as the girl who has a podcast with Tanner. So it's weird you kind of like market it a little bit, and then say like someone from LSR, who we were like the studio we record in, like they might go on to work at like say Capital, and then it's like, oh my god, wait, that's that random, them random girls that like had that podcast one day. And it's weird, like everything you do marks it. So like everything you do has like a minor influence, whether that be on yourself, on like a topic, or like just one person. Like, oh, the effect that like everything you do has is crazy. And so like even if you feel like right now, I'm not making like a 2-hour film with extended director's cut at the end, and like I'm like shunning intimacy coordinators, and if you feel like that's not you, like if you're just making say like if you're just sharing to your private story like what you're doing, like who knows, that could like birth something like that. It's so weird.
I think when it comes to like filmmaking, right, or like the arts, the odd thing is that not a lot of people who actually work on movies want to be famous. Like they don't want to be in the spotlight, and it's only like the big names that we see do that. And like that Hollywood story of like being discovered and whatever is like, that doesn't happen to everyone. You just hear about it all the time because that's what's famous, right? And that's what catches the news and everything. But like in terms of, I mean, I don't think I have enough like life experience to, say like, all the career moves I'm making, like that's leading me somewhere.
You got a good 2 decades on you.
You got years.
At risk of like revealing my ears on this, but like. Yes, but in a sense, like I still don't know where it's taking me.
Yeah,
I still don't. And like as long as you're happy with where you are, like who's anyone to like say otherwise? You know what I mean? And it goes back to like doing what you're passionate about and what you like. I mean, we already are kind of like lucky in that sense of like, we get to do this. And we get to, well, we're not doing it for a job or whatever. We're doing it because we like it, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can say that.
Yeah, not a lot of people have the opportunity to sit down on some comfy sofas with friends and talk about film. Back to your point that you were talking about. You're saying about how some people, it's not every day that people get to have that opportunity. What are your opinions on Timothée Chalamet's like speech? Because I was talking about it with obviously with Molly and Meg, but we touched on it. But like I was talking to some other people and they were like they found it cringe.
Yeah.
Really?
Because they were just like, but also I think that's part of our generation and like not being able to connect with a lot of vulnerable things because we find it cringe. And that brings me to another point about how like people watching like sex scenes in cinema and start laughing like in Baby Girl, which is me.
No.
But like
that was such a bad example.
I wasn't laughing. I was just like,
that was such a, you could have picked any other movie and you picked Baby Girl.
What other movie where there's sex scenes where I was laughing? In Challenges I was fucking locked in, bro. I was sat like this. I was like,
But like a sex scene is still like a form of like this how to say this without sounding like I'm actually gonna be on a list or something. It's still part of like the film.
Yeah.
Like it's still an integral part sometimes in the storyline, in the narrative, and like not always, but there's always not always. Why did I just say always? There's sometimes like a reason why a director or a writer has put it down. Like in Anora, like for the reasons of the sex scenes, like you wanted to see like the immaturity of him and the difference and the difference in translation of the sex and stuff like that, and kind of like the different way that their bodies were viewed and stuff like that. Anyways, carry on.
Also, on your point, anyways, I'll come back to that point. But in terms of intimacy, I feel like when people see people being vulnerable, especially our generation, I think they have a lot of problem with it, because then it comes back to them like, why can't I be vulnerable like that? And another podcast that I really like, we're talking about it with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, how like the way that they are always like touching or crying together on camera, and people calling that cringe. It's just their demonstration of vulnerability and showing the world that how close that they've gotten from filming. So I just think that Timothée Chalamet's speech, although people can see it as cringe, I think, in my opinion, I think that it's a demonstration of how much you have to want to be an actor to get up on stage and say that and be cringe, quote. That's what I think. And I think that's what unnerves a lot of people, and a lot of people who want to be actors, or a lot of actors who are already actors, because they realize that he's going to be amazing because he doesn't care. And he's going, like, he doesn't care what people think about him. He's going to do it, and he's going to say that he's going to do it. And I think that's scary for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like he says, like, listen, Timothée Chalamet has always been very wise in what he said. I think because, like you said, he really wants it, and like he's been at this craft for a long time. Like everyone laughs about his digital footprint, but that's just kind of like an example of how much he's really wanted it, and like for how long as well. Like he said in an interview with Zendaya, you have to realize that life is coming from you and not at you, and that takes time. Which the fact that that's memorized in my brain, it's like, why is he Plato right now? Like, why did he
Plato
eat
and
up
Balenciaga, bro?
But it's like, first of all, no one wants to see a man being vulnerable.
Yeah.
No one also wants to see a woman being vulnerable.
Yeah.
But it's like for two separate different reasons. No one wants to see an actor being vulnerable because it's like, you're very lucky. You should never talk about like how you want to achieve more. Like you should realize how good you've got it now. But it's like people can want to get better and like accomplish more and more and more. And then I think as well, listen, I think a lot of people associate a certain kind of brand with someone that's like generically good looking, and then all they expect from them is like, oh, he's so quirky, he's so different, he's so whimsical. Like, let's do something funny, Timothée. Like, let's laugh, let's make people laugh. But like when he says things like that, like, oh my god, I will say it, and I will stand up, and genuinely anyone who says it's cringe, like I will disagree with them so viscerally, because when he was like, I'm in pursuit of greatness, I know a lot of people don't talk about it, and I know I probably shouldn't be, but like saying about how he wants to get up there and how he recognizes that he isn't, like to say that like this doesn't mean the best to me right now, like holding the award saying this isn't like a statement that I'm the best, but it's a statement that I'm getting there. It's like the balls on that guy is crazy. Like it's just I don't know. It's
very
like
intimidating to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which I think is valid. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think you should be like a little bit unnerved. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what happens with a lot of people who do great things, is that they exhibit that, and you will get a little bit like, okay, who does this guy think he is? Because, and then they go and do it, which I think is crazy. Back to like sensitivity quickly before we do our little HR business. A lot of like that inability to relate or fully get involved with like intimacy even on screen, I think is represented in a lot of Luca Guadagnino's work.
Yeah.
And particularly the reactions to Queer, in my opinion, because I think that was such like a blatant demonstration of intimacy, and intimacy from a person who the industry quote don't want to see, like an older gay man. Like they don't want to see the plight of what he has to experience and how deeply like his feelings and how deeply that goes, basically.
Yeah.
So I think that in terms of his work, I think it's always going to be overlooked by our generation, with the exception of people who are interested in film, who are interested in how intimacy is represented on screen, because I think Luca Guadagnino is probably the best right now to like give an example of that. Because people just don't like it. It's icky.
If you want to talk about like, okay, because it's two things, right? There's like the intimacy thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the broader thing about like what our generation finds like cringe.
Yeah.
On the internet, whether it's like Timothée Chalamet's speech.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that. And I don't know if it's because like this is like sort of a conspiracy, like galaxy brain kind of theory.
Okay, we got our tinfoil hats on.
We're kind of terminally online, right?
Yeah.
So we see a lot of polished and constructed versions of people that we want to see, right? So there's not a lot of room for like vulnerability there.
That's
so like
true.
when we're presented with it in something that's trying to be whether it's like heightened, like if you want to talk about Luca, right, challenges, that's like heightened sexuality, right? Or like I haven't seen Queer, but I've seen enough of the trailers and stuff to know that like it's very like sincere, presented very simply, right? And whether it's that or like if you talk about Chalamet's speech, I mean he's comparing himself to athletes, right? Like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be like a great actor. He wants to be a great. Like, period.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm gonna disagree with one thing.
Okay.
But just the fact that you said he's been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
He's just getting started.
Yeah,
honestly.
he really is.
No, that's true.
He really is.
Yeah, and like he's our DiCaprio, right, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But mostly because he's brave enough to do anything, right?
Yeah.
He can ride a sandworm or like be play a guitar and sing like do the harmonica at the same time or like
or eat a
be in a
peach
musical
with stuff inside.
Yeah. And or do like the
was getting in my
statistics
feelings then.
stuff, like even
Yeah.
he talk about his digital footprint, right? He's not afraid to leave it out there because he's not really concerned about that. He's concerned about where he's going. And I think to get there he knows that he needs to say these things for people to like take notice.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah, but it's a lot of I don't think a lot of us are comfortable, not us specifically, but like people in our generation are not as comfortable with someone just outright saying that they want something constructed, they want like a cause to stand behind.
Yeah. They want a nice story.
Yeah, you want a nice story, you want a nice narrative. But
Yeah.
sometimes you just want what's best for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that wrong? No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the thing of like being self-made. Like obviously you want to be self-made, but I think when people see Timothée Chalamet being self-made, it doesn't really correlate. Do you know what I mean? If he was from an underprivileged background and he said that, I think the reaction would have been a lot different. But because he's not from an underprivileged
his mom
background,
is a stage actress.
Yeah,
is that right?
and he's French American, grew up in New York, but not really like in like he's not basically what I'm saying is he's not underprivileged.
Yeah.
And he didn't come from an underprivileged background. So I think his pursuit of greatness to some seems greedy. But I think because I think all the greats were greedy. That's what I think. I think all the people that we look at and we're like, oh, they're just amazing. They had to be greedy and they had to want it more than anybody else. Okay, guys, we've done really well. We've exhausted that topic quickly.
Damn. Guys, you don't even know when you were going on about Timothée Chalamet and you were giving genuinely gospel, my eye was getting really warm and I was like, do not cry right now. Do not cry right now.
No.
Do not cry right now.
Again,
Azrael,
we need to have a camera.
Yeah,
no, literally.
You need to come back and then have a camera this time.
And you lead this podcast.
Yeah, literally.
Like, you will see the tears forming in my eyes and just dropping. I will cry.
Literally. We've banned men. We've banished Ollie.
Bring it back.
But if we had to bring one back, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Okay, HR.
Nice.
Let's quickly do, what do you think was the biggest snub at the Oscars?
Putting me on the spot. Challenges.
Really?
Original score. Music.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
And then the biggest win, in your opinion, like deserved.
Biggest win.
Yeah.
Like one single win or biggest winner of the night?
No.
Because that's two different things, right?
Yeah. Biggest winner of the night would be a different thing, but like biggest win, which you think means the most right now.
Means the most right now to the filmmaker and to me personally, I think Flow, the animator.
Yes.
It's just
free programs.
free program made entirely on Blender.
Crazy.
With 12 people working on the film in total.
Insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
Okay. Hired, fired.
Hired. I need to see more Sing Sing in general
Sing
on the roster. Yeah, Coleman Domingo should have, if you want to talk about snubs, right? But more like, okay, I have a list. Me being me, I have a list.
He's warming up to that.
I'm just gonna read a list of films that like should have seen more of them this year. Yeah, Sing Sing, Dune Part 2,
Yes.
Challenges,
Yes.
Furiosa,
Didn't
which
watch
I
it.
loved. Genre cinema in general, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Transformers 1, but that's a personal
I
thing.
haven't
I'm a
watched it.
fan.
Apparently, it's really funny.
It's really funny, and if you like animated movies that look really pretty,
yeah.
Civil War, kind
Oh,
of dropped
yeah.
early and got forgotten
yes, the A24.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never watched it. I was like,
which is exciting.
Really good editing.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2, but more for like the technical
yeah.
stuff, and Denzel,
Yeah.
obviously missing. Fired, Amelia Perez and team, like all of it. We had Isabel on the show, and I'm just gonna borrow she was just boo, get it out the
Yeah.
entire,
Emilia Perez and Co.
yeah.
Yeah.
When the songwriter went off after winning that Oscar,
Yeah. Started singing,
no
question
thanks.
mark.
Yeah. I'm gonna Fernando Torres stands, but with an asterisk because there are some of them are just being detestable. When Mikey Madison won the Oscar,
Yeah.
there was an edit on Wikipedia. I don't know about whether you know this or not. But they changed it to like Mikey Madison is an American prostitute, and the edit came from like somewhere in Brazil. Clearly very motivated.
Crazy.
Yeah, that kind,
That's
get it out. We don't need
bad.
that kind of. Yeah.
That's terrible.
If I was Mikey Madison, screenshot Instagram.
Yeah, literally. I'd start writing my posts. I'd be
The 007 tribute.
yeah.
Madness. I'm a fan
Yeah.
of the franchise. Just
Yeah.
poor timing
Yeah.
in general.
It was weird. And I think a lot of people said as well that they expected there to be like, who was going to be the next James Bond.
Yeah.
To be
Thingy.
revealed.
Yeah. And then everyone was like,
Oh.
But if you're a Bond fan, it's a bad time right now. Like Amazon just bought us out. We're gonna get like 1 million spin-offs, and we don't need that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Adele is alive and well, and you don't have her sing Skyfall at the ceremony. I don't get that.
No shade to Doja.
No
but,
shade.
like,
No, they're great, but
Yeah.
I
to
don't.
Doja,
Yeah.
but you know,
it
Just
could have been
Adele's
there.
in poor taste.
Adele's
In poor
alive.
taste.
Yeah.
I think that's basically it.
That was a good list.
That's a good list. Do you have any recommendations? What have you been watching recently?
Oh God. I'm watching Shogun.
Shogun.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
heard
Series.
really
I've
good
heard
things.
amazing things about
Yeah.
Shogun.
Just good old-fashioned TV.
Yeah.
It's like Game of Thrones when it was good, when it was like at its peak, right? It feels a
Yeah.
lot like that.
Yeah.
I am going through a 90s binge right now, not just films, but like I'm listening to Third Eye Blind and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I'm watching 90s movies. I just saw Ghost.
Oh.
Nice.
Whoopi Goldberg is amazing.
Yes.
in
Crazy.
that. I think Basic Instinct is next. If
Mhm.
I do like
Ooh.
because I
Yeah.
do this thing where like I pick one film from every year. and go through the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? What am I reading? I'm reading this book called Easy Riders Raging Bulls, which is about again, makes you feel like a Hollywood insider. It's a non-fiction book about like a lot of key films in the 70s, and like you get to be a fly on the wall and hear like well, it's very like toxic masculinity, you know, because it's Hollywood in the 70s, but it's not a glorification.
Yeah.
It's just these people are scum. Yeah. And you need to be in the room to experience it, and that's
amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
It was
Thank you for having me.
It's been so good having you here. We've literally enjoyed everything.
Something tells me not my last time on this.
No, never.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, plug your stuff.
Yes.
Plug my stuff. If you want to catch me on As and When, there's gonna be a link. Are you guys gonna drop a link somewhere?
I'll drop the link.
Yeah, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. What else? You can drop my letterbox as well. Why not? Yeah.
Amazing. I'll put it all in the YouTube and on the Instagram. So get ready for some links. But yeah, definitely listen. Thank you so much again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Fantastic hosting, guys.
Bye.
Such a pleasure.
Bye.